Good morning. We made it to the final section of Emerson's Nature. This is section 8. Just read the Roman numerals. Prospects. In inquiries respecting the laws of the world and the frame of things, the highest reason is always the truest. That which seems faintly possible, it is so refined, is so often faint and dim because it is the deepest seat in the mind among the eternal verities. Empirical science is apt to cloud the sight, and by the very knowledge of functions, the processes to bereave the student of the manly contemplation of the whole. The savant becomes unpoetic, but the best read naturalist, who lends an entire and devout attention to truth, will see that there remains much to learn of his relation to the world, and that it is not to be learned by any addition or subtraction or other comparison of known quantities, but it is by untaught sallies of the spirit, by the continual self-recovery, and by entire humility. He will perceive that there are far more excellent qualities in the student than preciseness and infallibility, that a guess is often more fruitful than an undisputed affirmation, and that a dream may let us deeper into the secret of nature than 100 concerted experiments. For the problems to be solved are precisely those which the physiologist and the naturalist omit to state. It is not to permit to man to know all the individuals of the animal kingdom, as it is to know whence and where to. It is tyrannizing unity in its constitution, which evermore separates and classifies things, endeavoring to reduce the most diverse to one form. When I behold a rich landscape, it is less to my purpose to recite correctly the order and superposition of the strata than to know why all the thought of multitude is lost in a tranquil sense of unity. I cannot greatly honor minuteness in details, so long as there is no hint to explain the relation between the things and thoughts, no ray upon the metaphysics of the conchology, of botany, of the arts, to show the relation to the forms of flowers, shells, animals, architecture, and the mind, to build science upon the ideas. In a cabinet of natural history, we may become sensible of a certain occult recognition and sympathy in regard to the most unwieldy and eccentric forms of beast, fish, and insect. The American who has been so confined in his own country to the sight of buildings designed after foreign models is surprised on entering York Minster or St. Peter's of Rome by the feeling of these structures are imitations also, faint copies of invisible archetype. Nor has science sufficient humanity so long as the naturalist overlooks the wonderful congruity which subsists between man and the world, and which he is Lord, not because he is the most subtle inhabitant, but because he has its head and heart, and finds something of himself in every great and small thing. And every mountain stratum, and every new law of color, fact of astronomy, or atmospheric influence which observation or analysis lays open, A perception of the mystery inspires the muse of George Herbert, the most beautiful psalmist of the 17th century. The following lines are part of his little poem on man. Man is all symmetry, full of proportion, one limb to another, and all to all the world besides. Each part may call the farthest brother. For head and foot hath private amity, and both with moons and tides. Nothing hath got so far, but man hath caught and kept it as his prey. His eyes dismount the highest star, he is in little all the sphere. Herbs gladly cure on our flesh, because that they find their acquaintance there. For us, the winds do blow, the earth doth rest, heaven move, and fountains flow. Nothing we see, but means our good, as our delight, or as our treasure. The whole is either our cupboard of food or cabinet of pleasure. The stars have us to bed, the night draws the curtain which the sun withdraws. Music and light ascend our head. All things unto our flesh are kind, in their descent and being to our mind, in their ascent and cause. More servants wait on man than he'll take notice of. In every path he treads down that which doth befriend him. When sickness makes him pale and wan, O mighty love, man is one world, he hath another to attend him.